Welcome to the Girl Dad Show.
Welcome to the Girl Dad Show, a professional parenting podcast. Each month, I interview entrepreneurs, leaders, and professionals who are balancing parenthood, life, and profession in the hopes to learn what it takes to be an amazing professional parent. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Girl Dad Show. Today is another update from the Girl Dad Talks, where I intermix my professional journey in between interviews of amazing professional parents on their journey. And I'm really excited to update you on where I'm at this week and tell you a little bit about what's coming up for me right now in my professional parenting journey. So one of the big things that's coming up is the holidays. And I'm super excited to say that my brother and his family have decided to come and stay with us for the entire week. And so we will have a whole family thing here at Thanksgiving for us. And since the pandemic, we moved here and we haven't had the opportunity to celebrate any of the holidays with our immediate, well, at least my immediate family. And so I'm like really excited. I didn't realize how excited I would be until I actually had the confirmation from my brother that he's coming. It would have been cool, it would have been nice, but it wasn't a big deal until I actually thought about him coming here and spending time with us and his family. And I just realized how important it is for me and how wonderful it is. And so I'm very, very excited and very appreciative of the opportunity to get to share, the life that we've built here with my brother and his family, and then also just see my kids, hang out with his kids. It's a very, very special thing for me. And I'm really, really grateful for this holiday and my brother and his family coming here and staying with us. It's going to be super fun. It's really fun because my brother and I actually lived very close to each other when we first had our kids. So he had moved almost 8 or 9 houses down. So it was literally like less than a minute walk to go to his house. And our kids, they're very similar in age. And so it was really, really nice growing up with our kids growing up together and being able to be each other's best friend. And it's been a while since we've seen them, but we went and visited them in San Diego the other month. And it was just amazing to see the kids just lock into each other and remember that they were so close and they grew up together. And like this kinship and this bonding was just so strong. And they had so much fun, and Lily and Grace still talk about it even months later. So I'm super pumped. And I usually don't put too much stock into these things, especially like holidays and stuff. But I'm actually very excited. I'm very, very excited to have my brother out here, and it'll be really fun. And I think it's going to be really great for the kids to experience the holidays, as a family, because I grew up in a really big family and holidays were a really big thing. And I remember, all through high school, even just having these massive Thanksgiving feasts, with close to I don't know, probably 60 to 100 people at my uncle's house or wherever we were. But it was just an amazing experience just being part of this large family. And I feel like my kids don't really know what that is anymore, or they have when they were really young. Lily might remember a little bit, but I definitely know Grace doesn't. And so I'm really excited about that. I'm excited for them to actually be around a lot of people, because both my girls are super social and they love people and they love hanging out and playing. And so that's going to be really fun. And especially because it's with family, I think it's going to be very special. So I'm really excited about that. I'm also really, really excited about my birthday. So it's going to be something that's a little less important, or has been my entire life, because it's so close to Thanksgiving. It just kind of gets washed under. There's a little bit of bitterness, as you could tell, especially when I was younger, but not so much anymore. But I am really excited about it this year. I feel like birthdays have been really, really interesting for me, especially in the last couple of years on my parenting journey, because I've been a lot more mindful and really changing the way that I think about life and how I think about my mindset, and really taking more time to be strategic and philosophical and really trying to invest in my brain and my knowledge and how I think and live. And ever since I started doing that a year ago, I have been able to use these kind of moments, any moment I can, to reflect and think through what I've done and where I'm headed and calibrate. And although I used to try to do that, on New Year's or whatever like that, it wasn't as, it was almost like a chore or like a thing, trying to rally myself. And I don't know, a lot of things have changed in the last few years since I moved here to Austin, and my mindset started to shift. And so ever since then, like every opportunity, every month or every week, every birthday, every New Year's, every holiday, like I try to take those moments and like really dig into, where am I at? What am I doing? And this year has been really, really challenging. And I really think back to all the things that have gone on this year, and all the things that we have gone through as a world and as an economy, and then even as a family and as a professional and as a dad. It's been one of the wonkiest years, I think, for me personally. Some of the hardest hards in professional my professional career I went through this year, and some of my greatest happinesses have also happened in this year. And I will say it's been a very special year. So I'm very excited to calibrate and think through those things. But I will double click into that because I mean I do want to share with you kind of my journey and what's on my mind. And I think it's really important to share these stories. And I should have done a better job documenting it because I think there's a lot of value in like, sharing the stories of building something. And I will say that one of the things that was really, really low was how hard it was when in June or July, when, all the venture capitalists like basically told every startup to cut things down and increase burn rate and all that stuff. And I essentially lost, a huge bulk of my income, got laid off very drastically, very fast. And it was really hard to breathe and catch up. And I had been very aggressive with my growth plans and strategies. And so didn't have a really good cushion to lean back on. And it didn't feel like it was going to be easy to catch up and breathe. And it got really hard, got really, really hard, and much harder than it's ever been for me. And more so because I have a wife and I have kids, I have investments, I have mortgages. I just have a lot more stuff that I'm responsible for. And so is one of the most humbling experiences in my life. And I think I needed that. In hindsight, it was very painful to go through, but I definitely needed to experience that to understand that you have to have some level of security as you start to increase your commitments to people and family and life. And although I'm glad that I took those risks and I'm glad that I was aggressive this year, probably more aggressive than last year, I definitely don't think I'll be as aggressive next year because I don't want to ever be in that position where I'm concerned or worried about how I'm going to make things work, and at least not to that degree, right? And I'm just going to be a better steward of financial stability. I'm definitely going to be aggressive, but I'm just going to be a little bit more mindful. Maybe instead of having a 1 month run rate, I'll try to move to 3 to 6 months run rate. So that if something does go wrong, I have 6 months to figure it out versus like 3 weeks, That's kind of where I was at the bottom there. But there were a lot of things that I could have done at that bottom to remedy it faster and quicker, but I chose not to do it. And I'm not sure if it was just luck or I was just too busy and tired to try to solve for it, or I couldn't think straight, or I don't exactly know. Maybe it was, intuition or gut feeling, but I just pushed through and I did a lot of things. And thank God I had an amazing network of friends and family. And I was able to pull from emotionally, mentally, and physically. I mean, some of my friends were no questions asked, lent me money. And it's amazing. It's an amazing thing. I'm so grateful, so grateful to them because they really were able to save a lot of things for me and allow me to keep growing. But it was very challenging and it's very hard. And I'm excited to be able to come out of that, this month, especially this month. And next month looks even better. And then in the new year, it looks like it's going to be really great. But I can't wait to pay them back and make sure that they know from my heart that I'm so grateful for all the conversations that my network has had with me, all the guidance and feedback everyone has given me, all the introductions people have made, and obviously for those that even gave me money or lent me money, no questions asked. That was very, very gracious. I'm very excited to say that the plan worked and I was able to remedy the situation, and all the businesses that I have been building are back on track and they're not as aggressive. And I'm probably going to take it a little less aggressively, but they're all back on track and we should be good to go and be able to pay you back in a few months. So I'm pretty excited about that. And I will never forget these hardships this year and the challenges that I went through to build something for myself and my family. And I'm just going to try to maybe slow down my goals. So instead of trying to like semi-retire by 45, I may try to do it by 50, because I think that by being so aggressive, I'm opening myself up for a lot of these risks, by going too heavy and too hard. I'm opening myself up to risks for failure more often because I have so many different things going. And then second of all, I'm also losing time when those things go wrong. And the whole point for me is to build these assets so that I can have more time. And inadvertently, I'm not spending the time that I want with my kids and my health and myself and all of those things. So it's been a really incredible year. It's been a really incredible year of learning and growing and developing who I am and what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. And it has really grounded and centered me. And I'm really looking forward to spending some time with the family, unwinding from work for a few days and enjoying, just my kids and my family and the holiday spirit. And then really taking some time on my birthday to reflect on, what am I doing and why am I doing it? And then possibly like recalibrating, the level of, aggressiveness that I have with it, and then mitigating some of the risk, because I never want to be in a position that I was again this year. On the positive side, there is a lot of great things happening. I have launched a private subscription for business owners. And, the saving grace for me has been, this building of service businesses, because unlike the tech industry, which I never thought would have a problem ever, because, in like the 20 plus years that I've been working in Silicon Valley, like the tech industry has always been fine, very insulated from all the crashes in economy, and just never imagined that it would be hit so hard like it was this year. But the recession really did, also open my eyes to the fact that I've been, building these service businesses, also coaching them. And it's been really fun to basically have this kind of side avenue where I've been, helping not only tech startups, but also service businesses. And I've been coaching them. And I've been designing this process and framework and this system to basically help them go faster. And it's been working really, really well. I'll say that I have now helped half a dozen service business owners, mostly double their revenue. Some of them have even tripled, but most of them have doubled on average. And most of them have added double their headcount. And I will say the most important thing that I've been able to help with is giving them more time to work on the business than inside the business. And it's been incredibly gratifying. I mean, just in the last 2 weeks alone, I think I've had 4 different business owners, just thank me. And I don't know if it's because it's the season of thanking and gratitude and Thanksgiving's around the corner, but it like makes me emotional just like to know that, I've been able to help these passionate business owners, generate more money, make more time for themselves, be able to lead their business. And for me, it's just like stuff that I love to do anyways, build systems and processes. And for them, it's like exactly what they wanted and needed. And so being able to like do what I love, but also, make money off of that is very, very gratifying. And so, I basically built it into this framework and process, and started this little private Slack group, and launching it into a subscription business in January. So I'll let you know how that goes, but it'll be mostly invite only, because I do want to, protect it. I want to protect it for, business owners that want to build and win. But I'm really excited about it. It is one of the most exciting things about this year is that I now have a system and a process that obviously I'll iterate on and improve over time. But for now, I have a version 1 of it that I feel very confident works. And I've been using it on, 6 different service businesses as clients that I'm coaching. And what I've been doing over the last 4 or 5 months is having someone else run it. So Jamie, my director of biz ops, has been running her own clients and using the system, and it's working really well for her, and she's doing really good. I just checked on her and her client last night. I just hopped in and just joined it, and it was amazing. In some ways, she's actually better than I am at it. And the client is doing incredibly well, and they're progressing incredibly well, and they're moving very fast and in a very short amount of time. So it's very fun to test these things and see that it's a process that works. And then the other test, and I know that we don't really talk about it in the macro, and I talk about the full service business more in the micro, but the other test was actually to build a service business myself and test the framework. It wasn't actually just to build a service business. It was actually to see if the framework works. And Blue Ocean was that original test for me, is to see if I can test it on myself before I open it up to the public in a subscription and in a private group and all that stuff. Because I didn't want to be one of those like business gurus. I'm not going to be on TikTok doing that. Or maybe I will. I don't know. I should never say never, right? But I don't want to. And I don't think my intention is to go down that road. Not that there's anything bad with those people, but I just don't want to be that person. And I'd be hard pressed to be that person. So hopefully if I do it, it comes off more authentically, because I do care about my clients, and I consider every one of my clients, friends for life. And I also want them to win. I want them to win, and I want them to find, achieve and find their goals and happiness and all that good stuff with their business. But the biggest thing for me is that I wanted to test the framework also through another person, but also through myself to make sure it actually did work. And Blue Ocean is doing really well. Thank goodness for Blue Ocean, because it is definitely really interesting to see how the service industries are mostly, unharmed by the recession and by economic downturns and things like that. It's really interesting. And so my interest in it has even increased more so, even beyond being able to launch this group, and then also having Jamie help more businesses and working with her to help other businesses, scale up and grow, and being able to scale my framework and process to more businesses. Just being in the service business space is becoming more and more attractive to me. And so I'm very, very excited about, building more, service businesses, maybe an ice cream shop next year, and maybe another home services business. And it's really fun. It's really fun and gratifying. And although it's not as sexy or as glamorous as a tech company might be, it is very, very, very fun. And I love that the value that you can provide is direct. It's not this ambiguous, like ephemeral, like, disruption of the world and how we're going to change someone's life. And it's just like, no, we clean a pool, and you have a dirty pool, we clean a pool, you give us money, right? It's like the exchange of value is so direct and clean. And there's something really, really magical about that. That's really attractive to me. And maybe it's my stage of life, but I'm really enjoying it. So all that to say, I just wanted to recap by saying it's been a really, really interesting year. It's been incredibly fun for me. And I'm so, so grateful to go into Thanksgiving, just thankful for even the downs and the ups. And I'm so grateful for all the things that I've learned this year from it. And I'm looking forward to using this Thanksgiving time to reflect on what I want to achieve next. And also, checking out like where I'm at and what I'm doing, and just taking the time to reflect, during Thanksgiving, but also on my birthday. And if I could be so cheeky as to ask you, if you're listening, please share this podcast with your friends and family, especially this week or next week, because I'm really, really looking to figure out how I can grow this thing and make this thing a little bit bigger. And I know we've been having a steady growth rate, and I'm happy with that. And I definitely am doing it for myself and fun, but I would also really appreciate it for my birthday if you could just share this and help me promote the podcast and support my efforts here, because I've been really, really fascinated with this industry and this space, the podcasting space, as I've been really just doing it to be a better dad and be a better entrepreneur. I've now started getting into the podcasting space and going, oh man, there's a whole thing here that I can learn and be good at. And so it's quickly turning into something that I want to perfect and master as well. And it'd be really interesting. So if you have any feedback for me, I'd also love that as well. I'm always a learner, and I appreciate even good or bad news. And again, I appreciate you listening in and supporting the show. And I hope that you have a wonderful Thanksgiving, and I hope you have a wonderful holiday, and that you take some time to reflect for yourself on, what was good and bad, and why was it good and bad, and who helped you, who didn't help you, and really think through those things critically. Because if you think about it that way, at least once a year or once a quarter, oh gosh, you hope you do it once a month or even every day. But, these reflection points have really helped me, and I know that it'll help you in changing your mindset and really helping you design the life that you want and being more intentional about it. So for whatever that's worth, I hope that helps you on your journey. And thank you again for listening in, and happy holidays. Thank you for listening to The Girl Dad Show. Did you know that our website is full of really fun products, like the shirt I'm wearing? Visit thegirldadshow.com to shop our t-shirts, hats, mugs, and more. And follow our social channels to hear about our latest sales.